Hello, Huntsville. I'm Cynthia Joyner with the Cynthia Joyner Real Estate Group. And today we're going to get up close and personal with the local news anchor. It's the amazing Nakell Williams, a seasoned news anchor here at the ABC affiliate. We'll explore her journey, get the scoop on broadcasting the local news, and talk about some of the local stories that have left a mark on her. Stand by for an eye-opening discussion about life in the newsroom.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Hannah.
So to get us started off, just kind of share with us how you got started to be a news anchor.
I knew early on that I wanted to be a news anchor. I grew up watching the news with my grandmother. She babysat me while my mother worked. And I knew early on that I wanted to be a news anchor. And as I kind of made my way through school, it kind of made sense because I learned about myself that I thrived when I was able to be creative. It all kind of made sense. And I wanted to do something where I could have an impact, on the community. I could be a voice for other people.
What made you choose Huntsville?
My contract was ending and I was looking for a new job. And I wanted to continue to anchor as well. But I was also pregnant. And so sometimes, when you're about to have a baby, it can be challenging, and sometimes people won't hire you because you're pregnant. Exactly. I mean, if we're honest about it, that does happen. That's a real thing,
yes.
And so I'm applying for jobs. I'm interviewing on Zoom. Folks really couldn't see my stomach. They could only see my face,
right.
And my agent called and said, we have some interest from a station in Huntsville. And I said, Alabama? Huntsville, Alabama? And he said, yeah, Huntsville, Alabama. And I said, really? Are you serious? And he said, yeah. He's like, do you think this is something you could consider? And I said, well, let me have a conversation with my husband and we'll see.
Right.
And so my husband and I are having a conversation about this in our living room one night. And this news segment comes on talking about Huntsville being one of the best places in the country to live. And my husband and I both looked at each other like,
that's a sign.
What? I was like, are you seeing this right now? And he was like, yeah. He's like, who knew? I had no idea. And I was like, well, I certainly had no idea because I didn't really know much about Huntsville. All I knew about Huntsville was what I learned, in the history books or what I saw in news reports on TV. But that's all I really knew. That's all I had to go on. And if I'm honest, I was a little nervous as a Black woman to even consider this place as a place to work, to move my family. And so I went through a series of interviews with management, and I got to the point where I had to be upfront about my circumstance, right? And not only was I pregnant, but I was 9 months pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I said, listen, once we got close to them making an offer, it was clear, listen, here's my situation. I'd love to come to Huntsville. I love what you all are doing with Wave 31 in terms of what you've communicated, but it'll be about 3 months before I can come to Huntsville because I'm about to have a baby any day,
right.
Right. And they were silent for like 15 seconds on the phone. I'm exaggerating, probably not that long, but it felt like 15 seconds to me. And I was like, okay, that's it. I lost this opportunity. It's over, And Mike Wright said, Nakell, don't you worry about that. And I knew right then and there that I was coming to a great place. And they were so kind to come to me.
Oh, wow.
In Atlanta to do the interview because at that point, my doctor would not approve any travel. That's how close I was to having my third son.
Right.
The doctor was like, no, because we were having some complications. And she's like, no, I can't let you travel because I'm nervous about what might happen.
Right.
So they came to me. We did the interview at the Weather Channel, your demo trial with the person who would be your co-anchor. And I said, yes, I can get in my car and drive 30 minutes to the Weather Channel for sure.
Right.
And I did that. And long story short, that's how I ended up in Huntsville. What we love about Huntsville is that Huntsville, like I mentioned before, is this melting pot of a city, and I've met people here from all over, you know, the country, other parts of the world, and it's growing so much. Gosh, I mean, we like to just get out in Huntsville and see what's new, and there's always something new opening and coming to the city, which makes it exciting to live here, you know. I think what better time to move to any city than when they're actually in this growth spurt, you know, and you can always find something to do that you haven't done before.
Exactly.
You know, so we love it. We love being a part of the Rocket City.
Any favorite restaurants or places to go in Huntsville?
We love Purveyor.
Yes.
Because of the experience. And you do get that when you go in there. Also, the new late night spot, the library.
Okay.
Girl, the library? Yeah, that's my spot. The library, a place for grown folks, okay? The grown and sexy.
Yes.
Thank you for bringing the library to Huntsville.
I'm gonna check it out now.
Because there wasn't any place for people like me to go late at night if you want to have a cocktail and you want to keep it classy and you don't want to look around and see someone who's, you know, 20 years younger than you, you know. Also, we stumbled on Catacomb recently. Who knew Huntsville had a speakeasy?
I heard about this and I've not been yet.
I said Huntsville.
And I heard it's so, I know. I was like, Huntsville, wait, pause.
Yeah.
I was like, I did not know that Huntsville had a speakeasy.
Yeah.
So
I was looking for a place to plan a date night, and I came up on that. And I learned that all of those businesses are tied and connected, you know, but we love it there as well. They make great cocktails. It's a nice atmosphere. You meet interesting people there, you know, and so those are 3 of my favorite places in the city that I've visited recently.
Share with us the unique stories or what it's like working as a news anchor in Huntsville compared to, say, Macon, where you come from, or maybe other places that you've worked.
Well, you know, people are people everywhere, you know, and many of the stories are the same, you know, and they're all important and significant. I mean, for us as journalists, right, what we do is so important in terms of the information that we provide to people. So as journalists, we provide information to people about everything from education to healthcare to voting to, you know, the government. And people then turn around and they use that information to make decisions, you know, for their lives. It's just a privilege, really, to do what we do, whether it's in a city like Huntsville or Macon, Georgia, you know, and it's not something that we or I take for granted because a lot of times people invite us into their homes. They sit down with us and they'll open up, you know, to me, sometimes during the most difficult times of their life. You know, maybe they just lost a loved one, someone was shot and killed. You name it. It's all significant and special to me. And I really, really appreciate how the people of Huntsville have embraced me. They've welcomed me into this community. They have trusted me with their stories. And many of them are choosing Way 31 and they're choosing me as a part of that, you know, turning us on and we're grateful because what we're trying to do here is really just be a voice for the voiceless. You know, that's what we do. And I think people in this community know that we care about them. We care about their families. That's what we try to show them. We try to get out in the community and be involved. A series of stories that I did early on when I first came to Huntsville to work was during Black History Month. And I featured several women in our community who were, you know, achieving great things in their careers, things that you don't really see many women achieve in general, especially not African American women. And they opened up their doors to me and sat down with me and took me on a journey with them from their beginning to now. People like, Kim Lewis, who started her business in her bedroom, as a single mother, and who now owns multiple businesses as an entrepreneur. I'm sure you are familiar with Tony and T-Mail, and I love Tony. And so we partner with them and we send them news headlines every day. You can hear me on there in the evenings, probably around 6 or so in the evening. You can hear me on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I had the privilege of meeting Tony early on when I first came to Huntsville. I think it was within the first month working here. I had a chance to meet her. We partnered with their station on a coat drive, and we were working on that together, and it was such an honor to meet her. Destiny Payton Williams, who was one of the first women here to take on the initiative of bringing a unique beauty salon and spa suite business here to the city. And of course, Cynthia Joyner, who is very well known in the community. People have to bow down to her when it comes to the real estate game, but not only that, she's very engaged in the community. She cares about this community. She gives back to this community. And also Bobby Bradley, who owns an incredible child development center here in our city, where she's basically helping parents raise their children, and she's helping parents as well achieve their goals, and improving teaching and learning here in our community. Sitting down with those ladies and hearing their stories, hearing their struggles from the beginning to now, I looked at them and I saw myself. And that gave me a sense of belonging and a sense Huntsville can be home for me, because there are women in this community who are just like me, who have struggled, who have achieved a level of success, but who are still grinding, but who love community and are committed to working in the community with others to make this place a better place for all of us to live. Gosh, I've had such a journey to this place, but I think all of that experience makes me a better journalist, because I have various skills that I bring to this role, and also just an expansive knowledge base about many things. And it just so happens that since the beginning, my beat is always now government and public affairs. And so I still kind of have the best of both worlds, in this role. But that's kind of like, my story in a nutshell. And people look at me and they're like, oh, you're a celebrity. And I'm like, no, I'm just Nakell. As one of my friends calls me, Kell from the block. I'm just Kell from the block.
Like and subscribe to Hello Huntsville today on all your favorite podcast platforms. Sponsored by the Cynthia Joyner Real Estate Group, Jeff the Mortgage Guy, and Tony with T-Mail in the Morning Show.